Recording in progress. Here we go.
But this is what I'm doing today anyway.
Mike says this is the best one. He said he's going to go ahead and teach her.
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right. What does an agent do? So I got to click on the presentation to have it. What successful agents do every day? The day in the life of an agent. So I would venture to say this is probably a little bit more on the side of business owner. I'm sure you'll relate. Vinny talked to me a lot about the construction business and going through that and what that's been, how similar that's been in terms of running a real estate business and real estate career. But successful agents, what they're doing every day. So this class will take about 4 hours. So I apologize. I'm just kidding. We'll probably knock it out in about 45 minutes or so. If you have any questions or anything, stop me along the way. That's what we're here for. But agenda for the day, we're going to be talking about setting goals, growing your business and running your business, creating accountability, building database. You're going to be able to build your database, script practice, lead gen, all of this stuff and kind of what it looks like in terms of real estate and running a business. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Anybody hear this before?
I've heard that. So maybe not that exact quote, but a variation of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. What does this mean? What's it mean?
It's kind of like you are what you eat. You know, you get out what you put in. Type of
Okay.
thing.
Or it's like some people say, oh, you are lucky,
Okay.
right? But it's not that you are lucky, it's what you do in order to get your goals.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so what part of that is getting to your goals? So we set a goal and we have this vision for where we want to be. How do we get there? What do we do?
Plan.
Yeah, we have to put a plan in place, right? In order to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Yeah.
So it's really putting that plan in place to build the habits necessary to be successful. And we talked about it in the team meeting a little bit today, like building those habits and working on it every single day. What do you think successful agents do every day? Beginning of the day, you should get motivated by reviewing your goals, plan for your day. Motivating activities will vary. Choose activities that focus you. One of the things that I like to do, of course, I'm spending an hour, in today's case, an hour and 40 minutes driving into work. When I drive into work, but one of the things I enjoy doing is popping on a little YouTube motivational video. I click through a couple and then I sit and I find one I like and I end up listening to it. So you guys saw one of those today. I actually listened to the whole thing this morning.
I've seen that guy before. He does a
Les Brown,
yeah.
It takes you an hour
an hour.
to get here.
Yep. Yep. The quickest I've ever made it is about 45 minutes, but that's just no traffic. Sometimes my drive home will be like that, but yeah. So I try to fill it with other stuff. Sometimes it's just space to like decompress and think about things and all that, but I'm usually trying to, one, look at what I'm supposed to do for the day before I come in. And then two, I work on my motivation time. That's my drive in, right? So that's kind of my habit on doing it. I used to spend 10 or 15 minutes simply sitting and reviewing my 411. I used to put on motivational stuff in the background, but I'm always looking, what do I got to do today? What do I need to accomplish? And the reason I'm doing that is because otherwise the day's going to get away from you, right? So you time block and you plan, right? There it is. What are the key activities that need to be on your calendar, right? It's not do these specific things, it's what needs to be on your calendar. And it will vary, right? Some days your one thing needs to be what?
Laundry.
Could be, right? Got an important meeting, you don't have any clean clothes? Well, that's the one thing, get it done, right?
Shopping,
But what?
shopping.
Shopping? Hey, you gotta eat for the
You know
week,
what,
right?
what I do? Sometimes I don't want to do anything, just go shopping. But I got a lot of my business card and I go to the mall, Tyson's, and I look in and all the people that smile to me, I give you my card.
There you
Nobody smiles at me.
go.
You're gonna have different experiences based on.
So I
Mileage
feel-
may vary.
So I feel like I'm, having fun, but I also doing something.
So we talked today, thank you for sharing. We talked today about that mastery and the time it actually takes to master something. So we know that we need to build that in our schedules to make sure we succeed and we master those things that we need to master. The video I played this morning of Les Brown goes on to talk about, or maybe it was another one, goes on to talk about, I can't remember the name of her name off the top of my head, the most successful Girl Scout cookie salesperson ever. Anybody ever heard that story?
My wife was good at it.
So if you're good at it and you're pretty darn good at it, you might get about 1,000 boxes, a couple $100 to 1,000 boxes in a season of selling, right? So he tells the story, and again, this is based on what you're going to do to be confident and get your thing accomplished. The idea is ask. It's a numbers game, and the reason you do it every day is so that you can continually get those numbers going. So this young woman came from a regular family with not a ton of money, but she said, her mom said to her, listen, I have a dream for what do I want to do with my life, and I want to travel the world when I retire. I can't do that and send you to school. So she made a deal with her and said, I'll send you to school if you promise that you'll take me around the world, 25% of your salary, whatever. They made a deal. So she said, yes, I'll go to school and then I'll pay for you to travel. Well, apparently, like that year, the Girl Scouts were having a competition of traveling the world. The top salesperson travels the world, 2 tickets to go travel the world. So she sold like 3,000 Girl Scout cookies that year. And she goes on to write a book and speak in front of salespeople at conferences and whatnot. And it's just about being consistent and asking, and that's her main thing, making sure that you're asking. Because if you don't ask, you don't get, right? Certainly not. And the more times you ask, the more time you have blocked off on your calendar, the better you're going to be at it, and the more likely it is that you're going to get to your next yes. So that was a big thing for me, always a big thing for me, is tracking my no's and yeses. So I track my no's so that I know how many no's I need to get in order to get my next yes. So I don't look at it as a no, I look at it as just the distance between one yes to the next. Right.
People always ask me about the leads I get from online. I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of no's, but like you're not going to get to someone who wants to work with you until you have to go through 100 people first.
Yep.
You have to go through 100 leads first.
Yep, that's exactly correct. But anyway, we need to, in order to do that, we need to block our time. Daily success habits. The reason this is in the beginning of the day is you heard it on the Les Brown video too, right? The morning is one of the most productive times. You're more focused, you're more ready for the day, especially if you've done all the right steps, getting enough sleep, eating correctly, all of those things that you need to do.
Patrick, do you think that people, because, for example, some people say, oh, if you wake up 7 a.m., you will do more things during the day. But some people like to wake up, let's say 11 a.m., but they are productive to midnight. Do you think that is better when you start early in the morning?
So that's a great question. And I'll tell you what my opinion is. Again, it's just an opinion. The answer to that question is yes. So the reason I feel that way is I know from my personal experience and what I've seen from others stating, even if you're productive longer into the evening, you're less likely to be as productive because your focus time on what you want to accomplish is when there's nobody else up around doing anything, and you can solely focus, and your body is more able to do that. If you flip that, you're still getting, most people aren't up and around, and if you're doing it in the evening, but your body doesn't focus on that time the same, because you've had a full day of whatever other activities you have, right? So there's less distraction and more focus that first time in the morning. And there's a lot of studies around timing and productivity in the day rather than the night, because of your emotional state and all those kind of things. But that's my opinion on it. That I believe, yes, you're more productive in the morning if you're getting up early. I'm not a master at that. I've always been a night owl, if you will, but for me, I know I feel that way because if I'm trying to get something done at night, a lot of times it takes me longer than it would if I had focus time in the morning. Yeah, especially now that I have kids. Spending an hour getting them in bed, and I'm like, oh, I just want to sit and not do anything, right? So anyway, focusing on that time in the morning when you're most productive, setting aside time for lunch, running the business, growing the business, and separating those activities, right? A lot of calendars are set up this way with like a lead gen time in the morning, running the business, figuring out contracts and those type of things, growing the business with presentations and appointments in the afternoon, and then counterbalancing your time with family time. Notice motivation and review. There's time set aside for those. On my calendar, you see the same thing, 411 review every single day. Do I succeed at it? No. Do I have it on there so that I can remind myself to do it and succeed on it? Yes. Because if I don't do that, then I lose focus on my goals. No matter how much I keep telling myself, I don't. Set weekly and daily objectives. 411. Who has a 411? Who can show it to me right now?
It's just in my office. You want me to go get it?
No.
Oh.
But that's the idea. So 411, it's in the building for me too. It should be something that's near you, with you. I can pull it up on my phone, but
I mean,
have
today's
it.
like my day to do it for the month. So
Yep.
I was gonna do it after this. So.
Yeah. So you want to make sure. What did I do? Press the button. 411. Why is it important?
Why is
What is 411? So 411 is kind of your planning. So
Your
you
map.
set your roadmap is your GPS.
Yeah.
So your GPS is a business plan for the year. What do you want to accomplish? Right?
okay?
So that's often referred to as GPS, or what we call a 1-3-5. So the G stands for goal. The 1 is the G. So you have one goal for the year.
There should be a variation of it too.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need it to be 1, 3, and 5, but something along those lines. So you have a goal for the year. I'm going to sell X amount of properties, or I'm going to make X amount of money, or my commissions are going to be this, or whatever your goal is, something along those lines. Then you list your priorities. How are you going to get to those goals? So we talk about it in terms of real estate all the time. I'm going to sell 50 houses. Well, how are you going to sell 50 houses? Well, I'm going to hold X amount of open houses. That's one of my priorities. I'm going to connect with my sphere one time a month. That's one of my priorities. That's your 3 or your P, GPS priorities. Then you go through there and you list those priorities. And then underneath those priorities, you list a strategy on how you're going to accomplish that. Break it down for open houses. Well, every open house, I'm going to knock 50 houses around it. I'm going to send 50 letters. I'm going to make 50 phone calls. So around that open house, you're going to have activities that are going to lead to your closings, right? Your goal, your main goal. So that's the idea. This then takes that document, your 1-3-5, and you plan it out every month. So your 411 is very simply your annual goal, your goals for the month, broken down into weeks. that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So let's take the idea of open houses. We're gonna put that annual goal of selling 50 houses. Well, monthly goal, I'm gonna host open houses, right? So we know, well, to get to 50 houses, I gotta hold an open house a week. That's one of my strategies, or my priorities, excuse me. So that means in our weekly goals, you're gonna have to have things that you need to do in order to be getting that open house, in order to be knocking the strategies, door knocking, phone calling, mailing letters. So you break it down so that you're not sitting at your goal for the annual and saying, oh, I want to get there. Well, how do I get there? You never know. You break it down. It's your ultimate roadmap. So it's like your directions on how to get to your goal. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So 411, and it should be something that you look at a minimum once a week, but I highly recommend to do it every day, because ultimately it's in front of you. Figure it out. What do I need to do to get to where I want to go? So that's what you put on here. Your annual goal, sell X amount of houses. Monthly goal, in order to sell X amount of houses for the year, I need, right? So let's say we're saying 50. So that means I need, well, how many do I need? I need 4 every month, 5 every month in order to get to my 50, right? So monthly goal, 5 houses closed. How am I going to get that? Activities based on your priorities. That's what the 411 is. So you need to visit, revisit, set time and block time on your calendar to be able to do it. The next lesson on personal perspectives is the 80-20 rule. We've talked about it before, we've talked about it, we'll talk about it again, but what is the 80-20 rule?
Do 20% of the work, gets you 80% of the results.
There it is. So what is that in terms of real estate? 80% of your results are going to come from what amount of activity typically for an agent?
20% of your effort.
Yeah, and what effort is that? That's going to lead to your business.
All the activities, all the plans that you do, everything.
If we had to break it down to 20%, it's going to lead to your business. What does that look like?
Lead chatting.
Lead gen. Yep. So your lead gen, whatever that lead gen looks like, it doesn't necessarily need to be phone calls or whatever, but 20% of your effort is going to lead to 80% of your results, and that's going to be your business, right? So creating a listing presentation or coming to the team meetings or things like that aren't going to lead to the results. They're going to help you along the way, but they aren't going to be the main source of your income or your results, right? So that's why we say 20% of your effort, you're looking at that calendar, right? Right there's your 20%, your daily success habits, that lead gen and follow up. Contacting people, and sometimes people don't calendar it, right? Sometimes people don't block time to make sure it happens. They do it different times during the day, but it's still 80-20 rule, right? That 20% is still going to lead to 80% of your results. All right, let's jump into the participants guide on page 4 of this. Is that what I gave you? Yeah, I gave you the right one. Yep, page 4. Basically, I just asked the question. We'll take a minute to go ahead and fill this bad boy out. Page 4. What are the big rocks that make up your 20%? And be specific. What are you doing? Ultimately, your lead gen, right? Since there's only 3 of us, but I'll give you a minute to go ahead and do that.
Where?
Page 4 of your packet.
Yeah, okay.
Page 4, it has the slide not that slide, this slide
Okay.
on the top. What are your big rocks? Meaning what is moving you forward in your business? What activities are you doing that are providing the most results for your business? What are those big rocks? 2 or 3 or 4 things that you're doing that provide most of your results. Vinny, share one with us.
I've been doing a lot of handwritten notes,
Handwritten notes.
and we typed up a really nice letter that goes out to all the C people. With all the A people and B people, I'm writing out notes.
Love it.
I'm phone calling my really, really special people I know that are going to talk about me. I haven't gone down to see yet to call,
Your cheerleaders.
and right,
Mhm.
and a lot of personal contact.
What are some of your big rocks?
I'm being a little bit lazy because I wasn't doing what I supposed to do it.
Mhm.
But I think that my big rock to keep my business
Mhm.
is because I have most of my clients in Facebook and
Mhm.
Instagram, and we were like texting each other, like talking about anything, and also we go for lunch or we visit each other, we hope for
Okay.
birthday parties and stuff like. We have more social relationships,
Mhm.
but I think that created on them, keep them, I'm in their mind all the time.
So your big rocks are communicating with your sphere through social media.
Exactly, in calling or texting or whatever.
Okay.
And I think I wasn't looking that in order to have more business,
Mhm.
but it's working.
Right.
Because they always are giving me referral.
Yeah, awesome.
And my
Good.
question is this, so some people tell me, if somebody keeps sending you people, why don't you give them like a gift or money or whatever? What do you think that is the best thing to do it?
So with that, you want to be careful because you don't want to violate any rules on giving
That's
gifts specifically for a referral.
Exactly.
So you got to be careful of that. I know a lot of agents do like a program, VIP referral program, where different activities involving the team, you can get different points and you can do a point system for referrals and things like that. I know there's a couple of teams out there that do like a mailing of gifts. So they do like a small gift under a certain amount. And if anybody gives them a referral that's verified referral, whether they get the business or not, they'll put them on this mailer and send gifts out for 6 months. Right? Different things you can do. Some people do like a VIP dinner. So if you give a referral in a certain amount of time, then you, along with everybody else, is invited to this dinner. Different ideas, different things you can do, but you can't say, thank you for the referral, here's $50.
Yeah, and I
Right.
just had to straighten my wife out.
Yeah, so you can't do anything like that, but you can do these programs to help encourage. You just want to make sure you're not violating the rules, so I would always ask Brad to make sure, no matter what you're doing. But
Okay, thank you.
big rocks, let's continue.
I have, I mean, I guess one thing is just like lead follow-up for me, because I have been getting a lot of leads in.
Okay,
And then making my calls in the morning, and then my SOI touches. Do
Awesome.
birthday cards and follow-ups, basically.
good. Those are some pretty awesome big rocks. Art, what are your big rocks? How you're getting your 20%?
They're becoming more complex as you like get involved in more than one venture.
Mhm.
And like yet still, if I think, like my biggest learning moment was a few years ago when I asked Gary Keller's coach on what really separates very successful owners of the business versus just the average ones. And then he said that they managed to focus on what matters the most at any given point. So quite often, my top 20 shifts, meaning like if we don't have a team leader, there's nothing more important for me than to find the right team leader. So that's my top 20%. Nothing else is important.
Got it.
And then when we have a team leader, what can I do to support the team leader to succeed at the highest level, right? And as an agent, it's way more simple. Like I
Yeah.
always knew it never changed. My top 20 was lead gen.
Yeah.
You just do it and it never changes.
Yeah.
Then it changes if you decide to grow, if you want to like add other people and so on.
Right.
But as an agent, I love the simplicity, and I knew that as long as I do my top 20%, I'll be good. And I have the results to prove it, so. But 80-20 is probably my favorite principles out of all. On Pareto principle from Italy, I guess it started where, so I love it. I love 80-20 rule.
Yeah, we'll be talking about this eventually. Someday I'll get to it in the team meeting, little bits at a time.
We needed some playoff music for Comp Energy there.
I was thinking about that as I was standing up there going, man, I'm not gonna get enough time again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need to start saying something to him about it. Give him a time limit, maybe
Beforehand
put
helps.
a red flashing light up there or something, I don't know. I mean, he did say that he knew, time was of the essence, but he didn't act
He
that
knew
way.
it, but he didn't,
Yeah,
he didn't care.
all right, so 80-20 rule.
All right.
Thank you for sharing. So 20% of your effort, those big rocks. Now we have those big rocks, so what do we need to do with them? Well, we have to translate that into our weekly goals and our daily objectives, right? So we have to set those objectives. What do we need to do? How are we going to be working on that 20%? So here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. On page 5, I want you to take those and I want you to make SMART goals, setting your objective for every day, starting with tomorrow for Wednesday. So on Wednesday, put 2-2, on Thursday, put 2-3, on Friday, put 2-5, and Monday, 2-8, 2-9 for Tuesday, right? So go ahead and put those dates on this sheet right here, right now. And I want you to make an objective for each day to accomplish your big rock. So you just told me what your big rocks are. What are you working on now? And if you do a 411 already, you pretty much have this, but what are those activities that you need to block for every single day that you're working to get your goals in here? So make sure you're asking those questions that are listed. Is it identifiable, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely? SMART goal. Okay, so take a minute to go ahead and fill that out. Take your big rocks that we just wrote down and write down the activity for a minimum of one of them for what you want to work on for the next week. Everybody understand what I'm asking?
Next Monday will be the 7th, wouldn't it?
I don't know. It's the first today, right?
Mhm.
So tomorrow's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, you're right. Tuesday, the 8th. So starting on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, what activity are you going to be working on your big rocks? Set a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goal for yourself every single day that moves you towards your big rock. For instance, we're using the open house example, right? So that's one of my big rocks that I have is X amount of open houses. Let's go ahead and say 50 open houses, right? So I need to, on Wednesday, firm up an open house for Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, right? So Wednesday, I spend the time finding the open house if I don't have my own listing. So call, but I've got to make it smart. I've got to make it specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right? So I need to call 10 active listings to get an open house for the next week. 10 phone calls will typically take somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on who you get and how long it takes for you to research them. So you pull those active listings up based on the area you work in, and that's what you're doing, right? So we make those phone calls. That's my SMART goal for Wednesday. On Thursday, then I'm gonna knock X amount of homes. Or I'm gonna make X amount of calls. So this is what we're doing. This is the goal. Set your objectives. What do you
So-
need to accomplish?
So can we do the same thing every day? No.
You can, depending on what it is. Absolutely.
Let's say, for example.
Yeah.
One activity. Let's say, for example, I'm planning
Mhm.
on Wednesday, I'm gonna take my clients on lunch.
Mhm.
Okay. Then in the afternoon, I'm gonna call 5 past clients.
Okay.
I'm gonna text 5 past clients.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna share something on Facebook or Instagram.
Perfect. Yeah. So if that's your activity and that was part of your big rocks, you can do the same thing every day. Absolutely. Because that's going to move you towards your big goal. So ideally, when you're thinking about it, your goal is X amount of closings. Your activity, one of your priorities sounds like it's sphere
Mhm,
and past clients.
mhm.
So under that, you're going to have 3 main strategies to talk to every one of your past clients. So those strategies, it sounds like connecting on Facebook, taking them to lunch, calling and texting them, right? So those strategies are perfect so that you're accomplishing that every day. But you need to make sure what I'm asking you to do is exactly what you did. You take that, you know what you need to accomplish every single day, and we'll see what the next step is in just a second. Okay. So it can be the same or it can be different. Depends on what your strategy or your priority is, right? All right. I don't see you writing it all.
I got it all written.
You got it all written already? What? Look at you. They're fast, man.
I just know what I want.
What's that?
I just know what I want.
Good. That's excellent. I know what you want to.
Hey,
Unless it's changed. Unless it's changed.
I got a nice beautiful big truck outside. And my wife wants me to go buy a trailer to haul around. She wants me to take her around country.
Oh, boy.
We're working on this.
First things first.
All right. Well, then let's jump in. Let's go backwards. Mike, what are we doing? Is it the same thing every day? Share with us. What's happening on Wednesday and Thursday?
Yeah, one of my big rocks is open houses, so I'm gonna get an open house tomorrow. And then I will be making all the expired calls that pop up. It's not, I mean, I could put a number on that and call old ones, I guess.
Okay.
So I have a number 10 in there. I'd like to make at least 10.
Okay.
So I'll go past and like pull up ones that
Mike,
I'll follow up on those.
are you having open house tomorrow?
No, but I'm gonna find one for the weekend.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, because they need to put it in by Thursday so people can start seeing it on like Friday, because I like to do it on Saturdays.
There you go. Good.
It gives me time to do a Facebook ad too.
I never got any result from open houses. Nothing. No one lead. I don't know. Probably you say consistency, right?
I've closed a lot of business from open houses.
Really?
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that statement, but just interchange lead source. Open houses, expired calling, it doesn't matter. They're proven results. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's best for you, right? So just because he sees success from open houses doesn't mean you will or should. You run your business, what fits you best. There's a lot of different options out there, but you're probably right. It's a matter of mastery, right? How do I conduct my open house? What are my activities around the open house? How many times have I done it? How many hours have I spent perfecting the scripts to understand how to work the people that are coming through the open house?
The scripts are the most important for open houses.
One of the biggest things, and I can't tell you how many open houses I've been to, if I ever bought one through an agent that's there, no, the reason probably is because they didn't even work me. So there's a ton of great scripts out there. I think I've shared one before. My absolute favorite, I got it from Ben Kinney, is very simply, thanks for coming to buy the open house today. I appreciate you stopping in. Most people that swing by are either looking for a house to buy or they're looking at this house to see what their house is worth. Which one are you? And that's how you start the conversation,
That's a good way to start.
right?
I always ask where they're coming from.
However it works for you. There's a ton of scripts that work. Again, you practice the script, you work the script, and you know it inside and out so that you can have that conversation so it doesn't sound like you're interrogating.
You need a couple different ones though, because like a lot of times if it's a busy open house and you ask the same question and the people who just came in are right behind those new people.
Yeah.
And you're asking the same question every time to everybody.
Exactly.
Some people will think that you're not being genuine.
Yeah.
So I have like 4 or 5 different like setup prompts where I like introduce myself and ask them that first question. It's not always the same, especially if there's other people around me that have heard the same.
Yep, and that's where the script mastery comes into account, because you're not having to go.
Because everyone's like, oh, he just says that.
Question
He
three.
just says that to everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can switch it up, switch it around, and still be comfortable and get the answers you need. So you can start with a different question.
I just have the sales contract all written out. I'm like, you just need to sign here.
Just
and-
sign here. That's hard. We got it.
So, but are you gonna have a class in like about open houses?
We could. do that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the next section is open houses. Check the calendar. It's on the calendar. I only know what's coming up the next week.
Okay.
Gotta keep my focus on it. It's like, it's in here somewhere. Yeah, this one's prospecting. I got little tabs.
So these classes are always after the team meeting?
This one's marketing. Generally, yes. Sometimes there's another class in between and we do it later in the afternoon,
Oh,
but generally after the team meeting. This one, there's door knocking. This one's seller appointments. What's that? Door knocking. Oh, look, it might be in 3. Yeah, look, elementals, open houses. There it is. Open houses. So in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's about open houses. It talks about benefits and what to do, safety, promoting and hosting, best practices, follow-up and converting. So all different kinds of resources that you can hit. Yeah. So. All right, so what are some of your activities? You told them already?
Yeah,
What you mentioned earlier, the lunches?
the lunch.
So is it a lunch daily?
No, I think it's gonna be like probably, I'm gonna try to pick 1 or 2 per
Okay.
week.
Okay.
Like maybe a breakfast or a lunch or something.
So what I'm asking you is on Wednesday, so on tomorrow, what are the activities that you're gonna make sure you do?
Tomorrow,
Mhm.
I already have scheduled a lunch
Perfect.
with a couple that they already bought a house like 2 years ago.
Okay,
Then in the afternoon, I'm gonna call, I think 10 past clients, but
10 past clients.
I'm gonna assume that 5 are gonna answer.
Gotcha.
Then I'm gonna text 5 or 10. And then I'm gonna share something in Facebook or in my Instagram.
Awesome. Good. Benny, how about you?
What?
Wednesday or Thursday, Big Rock.
Oh, Wednesday and Thursday.
What's
I'll
happening?
Probably mail more letters and write more letters and talk to more people.
Okay, thank you for the teaching moment. Let's make that smart. I love the activity. When you say more, what do you mean? So you said I'm gonna mail more letters,
More letters that I've already made.
right? So you made the letters, that's
Right.
great. How many are we mailing? Smart.
50 weeks,
Specific, measurable,
10 notes, 50 letters.
gotcha. So that's for the whole week.
No. The whole week would probably be 50 notes, probably 200 letters.
Gotcha, okay, so it's 10 notes a day, 50 letters mailed a day. Perfect. Love it, so that is specific, measurable.
And this only works till spring. I have my garden. All my
Yep.
sales have been spring
Mhm.
because I do all my harvesting or my seeding in the winter. And then once my gardens come through, which you will take part in planting this year, my whole world changes.
Yep.
So I'm in a hurry for winter.
Make sure you're getting it done. All right, so now the next part of this is time blocking. So I challenge you to set aside that time for tomorrow, for Thursday, for Friday, for Monday, for Tuesday. Whether you work your calendar digitally or you work it on paper or whatever, go ahead and take that time and block it on your calendar. Put it on there. Mike, is that what you're doing?
I have my calendar blocked.
You texting Sally.
Texting
Sally.
Katrina.
Tell her I said hi. Is she on?
I don't think
She
so.
did yesterday. She was good. I believe so. You got 2 minutes. Block it. Put it on there.
That's my spot.
Block it on your calendar. Generally, 20%, you're looking at 2 hours to 3 hours worth of your activity. Block it on your calendar if you haven't already. When are you gonna do the 50 letters and 10 handwritten notes tomorrow? When are you gonna do your lunch? That's already blocked, I'm sure. Your social media posts, when's that happening? Mike, when are you calling your expired? When are you,
9. Sometimes 8:30 though.
sometimes. Should start at 7. I never could do that. 8:30 is the earliest I could start.
Yeah,
I
it's
just felt.
anything before that, and it's like, you just know they're gonna be pissed.
Be ready for it.
It's true.
Who is it? I saw a video about that. Like a YouTube or something.
Did he have an opening line for him?
Huh?
He had a good opening line, or she had a good opening line?
Yeah, where they talked specifically about starting earlier. Maybe it was Gary Keller.
I mean, you gotta start
Gary Keller.
before all the agents get in there and start, you know.
Yeah. I think it was a Gary Keller video, and he wasn't talking about expireds, he was talking about just lead genning in general.
Yeah.
He said it would start at 7. One person out of however many would get mad, and he'd just be ready for it.
Recalling them, that's like.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
It's early. Having my coffee at 7.
Awesome. Well, now that you've done that, this next step is gonna be the painful one. Create yourself some accountability around it. What are some ways, because in the one thing, Gary cites Dr. Gail Matthews, who found that individuals who wrote down their goals are 39.5% more likely to succeed. Individuals who wrote down their goals and shared progress reports with a friend were 76.7% more likely to succeed. So under 40% to above 75% more likely to succeed and accomplish their goal. So who are you going to share it with? This is one of the things you hear kind of all the time. Weight loss, of course, is a measurable, easy to see results and all that kind of stuff. But how many times I've heard somebody say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to lose X amount of pounds and weight and blah, blah, blah. You become more accountable when you actually share it, because then you're afraid of failing and seeing that other person say, well, they're not, they don't do what they say, right? So that's why that boosts up so high, because when you share that with somebody, that's why it's so hard to share with somebody, because you don't want to look bad. You don't want to
I remember,
feel like you're not accomplishing that goal in front of somebody else.
I don't know where I read it or I saw it, or maybe it was just a quick video, but it was, if every day you went home and you like looked your kids in the eye and you were like, I didn't make all my calls today, and you did that like for a few days,
Man,
like eventually
Woo!
you'd probably start doing it.
that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
That one always kind of stuck with me.
That's almost as big as if you don't pay my mortgage, you don't own my morning.
That is true.
Almost.
I like that
Yeah.
one.
Let's be accountable. Excuse me. Accountability is an attitude and an approach. It's a tool for changing, achieving results, and dynamic cycle, not static concept. So we've set the goals. We've put the activities down. We're going to measure those results and we're going to evaluate, but we have to make sure that we're accountable. Who are you sharing it with? Share it with me if you want, but who are you going to share with? So make sure, I'm going to challenge you to do that now. Who are you going to share you just set yourself specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely activities to accomplish one of your big rocks and move forward this week. Who are you telling that you're going to do it? And who's going to be checking on you, right? You're not telling somebody that doesn't care. You're telling somebody that will care and will check on you and make sure that you do it. Like your kids.
They will remind me, even if they
Yeah.
don't know what it means.
Exactly. So make sure it's somebody that you're afraid to tell you didn't get it done. Okay. Any questions, problems, or concerns? Awesome. Accountability. That's it. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
So you have the plan for the week. This is what real estate agents do every day. This is what business owners should do every day. Plan it out. What's your rock? What do you want to accomplish? How are you going to do it? Write it out. Look at it every day. Make sure it's on your calendar. Make sure somebody else knows you're doing it, and we'll whoop your behind if you don't.
Yes, you will.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Any questions?
Mm-mm.